What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Line with Dev. We got some NFL news to get into today, and let's just talk about it real quick. How about them Dodgers? That game was absolutely magic to watch. I will say this, I told you guys, I thought that series was going to be ended in 5. Clearly, was I wrong? The Toronto Blue Jays, I thought, looked like the better team throughout the series for most of that series. Otani had some good moments. He had some kind of not so great moments. Um, a lot of our bats were not hot at all, and the Toronto Blue Jays bats were hot. Were hot. Watching that game 7, the Otani's pitching. You're expecting a little bit of magic out of the Dodgers. Can they pull it through? I had some doubts, but that's just me being a pessimistic fan of every team that I enjoy. But Otani gets cranked for 3, gets pulled, and then we're going through all of our pitchers. I mean, the fact that Yamamoto had to go in after pitching like 98 pitches the night before is insane. But that entire game, I expected a loss. I did. Even until the ninth inning, I was like, oh, we lost this game. And then all of a sudden, he hits one out of the park, ties the game, and then like the emotions were down, up, slightly down until he was out at the plate and that call remained as an out and didn't get overturned. And somehow, some way, the Dodgers pull magic out of the hat and win that game and win the series. Now, I don't think they look like the better team throughout the series, even though I think they have all the best superstars in the league. But that was an incredible series to watch. I think that as a baseball fan, even as like a what would you even as a fan that doesn't watch religiously but watches like, all the big games, that's an exciting series to watch, an exciting game to watch as a game 7. That's all you can ask for out of baseball. And they had like all-time highs for the World Series viewership. That's insane. But yeah, hats off to the Dodgers. I'm glad they pulled it through. I don't know how they did. Clayton Kershaw retires on a W, getting another ring. But let's hop into some NFL news. We got some sad stuff to cover just for a second. Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Nealon is found dead Thursday from an apparent suicide. It's an incredibly sad story to watch. We just watched him on Monday Night Football score a touchdown off a blocked punt, and then to have to read this story in Frisco, Texas, is just it's a sad story to watch, and a sad story to read. And my condolences go out to his family, his friends, his girlfriend, his teammates, anybody who knew him. You'd never want to see something like this happen. If you need help, just ask for it. And he will be remembered, and our prayers go out to all of his loved ones and family. Now let's get into some of the NFL news because we had NFL trade deadline. The trade deadline was this last week. Let's talk about some of the big ones. Sauce Gardner goes to the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts have been one of, if not the best team in the NFL this year. And to be able to trade for a player like Sauce Gardner, who is a top 5 cornerback in the league, is insane. They had to give up a couple firsts for him, and they're going to be paying him a buttload of money over the next couple years. But Sauce Gardner is a lockdown corner, and this will open up the Colts defense so much to be able to play man coverage when they need it, to because you can rely on a guy like this. You can put him up against any wide receiver and he's going to be able to compete, if not be the better player in that situation. So the Colts, who are already the best team in the NFL, didn't have to give up a lot to get one of the best corner. Well, they have to give up first. I mean, they didn't have to give up a lot of good players to be able to get a player like Sauce Gardner. That defense is going to be insane to watch now. The Colts, as one of the best teams in the league, get even better. Dallas Cowboys sent a 2026 second round pick and a 2027 first round pick along with Mozzie Smith to the Jets in return for Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams is incredible. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. This has nothing to do with him and more so the Cowboys. So their plan was to get a couple firsts for Micah Parsons to offload that contract just to turn around, give those picks essentially away for a D tackle in Quinnen Williams at 27 years old on his second contract, his first official non-rookie contract. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. They give up one of the best defensive linemen in the game, in the league, just to turn around and trade for another defensive lineman who's one of the best in the NFL. I don't understand this move at all. It kind of feels like they just made a parallel move. I don't think this makes them any better, or I mean, it makes them better because they didn't have Quinnen Williams and now they do. But I don't see how this made them better from when they had Micah Parsons. The Cowboys made a silly move, and I think this was just Jerry Jones wanting to get a trade done at the trade deadline, and he got one done. All he did was make a parallel move. I don't think this made the team a contender this year. I just think it made them the same team they were last year. Jakobi Meyers goes to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been really good this year. The Raiders have not been good. Jakobi Meyers is a really elite wide receiver. He's got elite speed. And especially with the loss of Travis Hunter, on IR with a knee thing, this makes the Jaguars better. And this makes the Raiders worse, even though they were in sell mode because they have been awful this year. So the Jacksonville Jaguars get a speedster at wide receiver, get another weapon on offense, and Jakobi Meyers finds a new home in Jacksonville, in Duval. The Saints traded Rashid Shaheed. Am I silly? Yeah, Rashid went to... Sorry, I'm trying to look at it real quick. Where did Rashid Shaheed go? Oh, I'm sorry. I know where he went. He went to the Seattle Seahawks. So another top 5 team in the NFL trades for an elite talent on offense. Rashid Shaheed is another wide receiver who has incredible speed. He's been a bright spot for the Saints' lackluster offense. The Saints were in sell mode because they've been awful, and now the Seattle Seahawks get even more dangerous. They might be the most complete team in the NFL. I'll admit that I was wrong. I did not think that Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks would be as good as they are, and boy have they proved me wrong. And not only that, but they add another elite piece on offense in Rashid Shaheed for a 4th and a 5th round pick. If you're a fan of an NFL team, would you not give up a 4th and a 5th for Rashid Shaheed? He's only 27 years old. So, man, I would not want to, if I was an NFL team, I wouldn't want to trade to the Seahawks because they are so good and they are throwing all their chips in the basket right now. They got Sam Darnold on a cheap contract so they can add pieces, pay money to other positions just like this. They add Rashid Shaheed to the roster, and that Seattle Seahawks offense with Sam Darnold, with Jackson Smith and Jigba get even better. And if Rashid Shaheed is your wide receiver too, your offense is elite. Your offensive weapons are elite. A trade the Jets, I would say a loser in the whole trade deadline thing was the Jets, but honestly, they were just in sell mode at this point. They've lost every game but one this season. They have been the worst team in the NFL. If not them, then the Raiders. But they were in sell mode and they get rid of Saus Gardner, Quinnen Williams. The Jets, again, are cursed. And if you're a Jets fan, I feel bad for you because my entire life, I mean, they got some first round picks and a second round pick out of it, but my entire life the Jets have been bad. I think we all had some hope when Aaron Rodgers went there. Aaron Rodgers comes out that first game, hasn't, Achilles injury, and it's been downhill again since then. But the Ravens got Draymond Jones. The Ravens get even better. Lamar's back. I think that the Raiders have a chance to make a push here in the second half of the season. I think they can figure it out. Um, Honestly, there were a couple people that I expected to get traded that didn't. I thought that Breece Hall was going to get traded, but they wanted to keep on to him. They wanted to keep a hold of him. Breece Hall on a cheap contract as a top 10 running back in the league, especially if you're a fantasy owner, you know how good Breece Hall is. And Breece Hall is an elite talent for a team that's been just awful for my entire life, but especially the last couple years. But he's been a bright spot on that offense. And I think the last one I want to talk about is that the Eagles kind of made a little saucy move. Let me see if I can find it. Eagles landed Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins. He's a pretty good edge rusher. They needed some help on defense. Their defense has been I'm less worried about the Eagles' defensive scheme than I am the offensive scheme. But I do like Jalen Phillips, and I liked him when he was a Dolphin, and I like him even more now that he's an Eagle, especially with the addition of Brandon Graham coming back out of retirement, Nolan Smith's coming off of IR. I think this Eagles defense can make a stand and show why they have been elite the last 5 years, but especially last year. I mean, that defense in the playoffs was unreal. The Eagles also got Jair Alexander for a 20, or they gave all they had to give up was a 6th round pick, and they got a 7th round pick back. Anybody who's watched the NFL knows how good Jair Alexander is when he's healthy. Unfortunately, he hasn't been healthy for the better part of 5 years now. But when he is healthy, my goodness, is Jair Alexander incredible. Jair, Jalen Phillips, Brandon Graham coming out of retirement, Nolan Smith coming back off IR. This Eagles defense, as long as they can figure out scheme and these players can stay healthy, I think talent-wise they can compete with any offense and they can compete with in comparison to any defense in the league. But that's most of the big trades that happened in during the trade deadline. I think there were some players that we expected. Oh, the Patriots traded Duggar to the Steelers. They only gave up a 6th round pick. They got a 7th round pick back. Same Jair Alexander, similar Jair Alexander trade. But yeah, that was most of the trades, the big trades for the trade deadline. Let's go over some of the games that happened in Week 9. Lamar coming back destroyed the Dolphins. We kind of talked about that on last week's episode. The Steelers come into the go and play Indianapolis when Indianapolis has been as hot as they have been and shut them up. The Steelers defense looked unreal. I mean, TJ Watt is an animal. And to see that unfold against statistically the best offense in the league this year, I was not expecting that Colts loss, and I was not expecting the Steelers to be the one to give it to them. The Vikings. I don't know how the Vikings won this game because JJ McCarthy, his stats don't look all like, I don't get it. I don't understand how the Vikings beat the Lions this week. JJ McCarthy threw for 140 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception. Now, if you told me they beat the Lions 27-24, would you believe me? I mean, I don't. JJ McCarthy is kind of like an anomaly because his stats don't show it, but somehow the team wins in miraculous ways against teams they should not be winning against. But the Vikings get a big win against the Lions. The Bears Bengals game was insane. The Bengals drive down, score with, let me see how much time was left in the fourth quarter. Joe Flacco scores with 54 seconds left. Then, with 53 seconds left, Caleb Williams throws it in the middle of the field with no timeouts to Colston Loveland. We're expecting him to get down, run to the ball, spike it. No, Colston Loveland breaks the tackle and sprints 40 yards to the end zone to score to beat the Bengals 47-42. They beat him with 17 seconds left. And the Bengals aren't happy. I mean, look, Joe Burrow's out. He's injured. We understand that. Joe Flacco's come in, and he's kind of given them a little bit of life because Joe Flacco will sling it. But everybody on offense is absolutely pissed because they're like, all you had to do was make one stop. If you made one stop, we would have a couple more wins this season. But unfortunately, the Bears and Caleb Williams, that play was insane. That's one of those plays where you realize why he was drafted number 1 overall, because he has the talent to do so. And Colston Loveland's a dog. Colston Loveland is a dog. But yeah, the Bears get a big win, and the Bengals again get upset in the last couple minutes of a game. All they had to do was make one stop. Panthers beat the Packers in a boring game, but what's important to know is that the Packers are just, I don't get the Packers at all. They have a ton of talent. Jordan Love has showed tremendous talent and improvement. And then they lose games like this where you're like, it's like the Browns game that they lost earlier in the season. How do you lose that game? You're the better team. You have the better players. You have the better coach. And somehow they lose to Rico Dowdle and the Panthers when they shouldn't have. And so the Packers get a second loss under their belt by a team they shouldn't have lost to. I don't know. Jaguars win in OT against the Raiders. The Jaguars kicker set the all-time distance record for a field goal in game at 68 yards. 68-yard field goal is insane. Insane. But yeah, the Raiders-Jaguars was an incredible game. They went to OT. Jaguars scored first. Raiders get the ball. They drive down, score, and instead of kicking the field goal with like 30 or extra point with like 30 seconds left to tie it and to possibly just end the game in a tie, they try to go for two. The play looked awful. Geno Smith's ball gets batted down, and the Raiders lose that game. Jaguars get a big win, but yeah, neither team could stop either offense except for that 2-point conversion in the very back half of OT. Bills, Chiefs have come alive in the past couple weeks. We expected this to be a good game, and that it was. But Josh Allen and the Bills figure out their offensive woes and beat the Chiefs 28-21. Bills get a big one against Chiefs Kingdom. Seahawks absolutely destroyed the Commanders, and in a game where they should have pulled Jaden Daniels because they were losing by like 30 points, Jaden Daniels dislocates his elbow, and now Jaden Daniels might be out the rest of the year because he got hurt in a game he didn't need to be playing in because they were down by so much. Cardinals, Cowboys, Jacoby Brissett overtakes Kyler Murray for the starting QB position. They're claiming that Kyler is injured. I don't think so. Jacoby Brissett has made this offense actually look talented. He's actually given this offense life, and it seems to me that the Cardinals coaching staff are going with Jacoby Brissett instead of the guy they paid a bunch of money to in Kyler Murray. So it looks like Jacoby is going to be the Cardinals starting quarterback, even though they're paying a ton of money to Kyler Murray. So we'll see what happens at the end of the year with the Cardinals, what they do with Kyler Murray, if they trade him, if Kyler demands a trade or what. But Thursday Night Football is going on currently. It's quarter number 4. Broncos are only up by 3. It's 10-3. Raiders have the ball. There's 12 minutes left. I think the Raiders have started to look a little bit better in the last couple weeks. I mean, they've given teams pretty good competition. I mean, the Broncos were 8.5-point favorites. They're up by 3 with 12 minutes to go. So unless they score a touchdown, without the Raiders scoring, it looks like the Raiders are going to cover that spread. Falcons, Colts, I expect the Colts to win. I think they're going to bounce back. They're going to have Saus Gardner. I think this is a game overseas in England or, somewhere overseas. But I expect the Colts to win. It seems like Sauce Gardner is going to play, even though the trade just happened. Falcons are good. They look really good. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that the Falcons can beat the Colts. The Colts are just too hot right now. Browns, Jets. A game you don't want to watch unless you have fantasy players or you're a fan of either of these teams. I think the Browns are the better team. I think they have a little bit more talent. They're coached a little bit better. But honestly, this game could go either way. I would not be surprised if the Jets somehow squeak out a win. Saints, Panthers. Rico Dowdle might run 400 yards all over the Saints. Saints traded Rashid Shaheed, so they have even less talent on offense. Panthers have kind of looked okay this year, honestly. They're going to be a middle of the pack team. Patriots, Buccaneers. This is a good game to watch. Baker versus Drake May. Honestly, if I was forced to pick a side, I think the Patriots are just slightly coached better. I like the coaching staff. Is Drake May a little inexperienced? Yes, but that can also bring life to a team when ignorance is bliss. But I would not be surprised if Baker just goes in and blows them out. Ravens, Vikings. Lamar Jackson's back. J.J. McCarthy under the helm of the Vikings. I think the Ravens are the better team. Lamar is so much fun to watch. He showed it last week when he was playing the Dolphins. J.J. McCarthy has had some miraculous wins, some kind of bad moments, but I think the Ravens are just slightly more put together. They have a little bit more time under their belt. J.J. McCarthy's, his third or fourth start total in the league. I think the Ravens will win that game. Bills at Dolphins. Do we even need to talk about this? Josh Allen's going to go into Miami and absolutely walk all over the Dolphins. Bears, Giants. It's just Jackson Dart. There's nobody else. There's literally nobody else on that offense. Literally. Scadaboo's hurt. Neighbors is hurt. It's just Jackson. The Bears coming off a huge win against Cincinnati in the last couple seconds with Colston Loveland scoring a touchdown with like 30 seconds left. I expect Caleb Williams and the Bears to win. Jaguars, Texans. CJ Stroud is in concussion protocol after that awful hit that he took last week, week 9. So it doesn't look like CJ is going to play. Jaguars got even better with Jacoby Myers. Granted, Travis Hunter's still hurt, but I think that the Jaguars can figure it out without Travis Hunter. Cardinals, Seahawks. Seahawks are going to win this game. I think Cardinals will put up a decent fight. I think that if the spread is anything over 7.5, 8 points, I would take the Cardinals all day long in that because I think Jacoby Brissett has made this offense look really good, especially in third and long situations. Jacoby Brissett has some really good stats in third and long situations with the Cardinals this year. I still think the Seahawks are the better team. They just got a new addition in Rashid Shaheed, so we get to see Rashid play for the first time as a Seahawk. But Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, they're just too good this year. Detroit against the Washington Commanders. It's going to be Mariota playing, unfortunately. Lions are coming off a big loss. Jaden Daniels is hurt. I'm not sure what's going on with the rest of the injury status for the Washington Commanders, but I don't know if Scary Terry is going to be playing at all. But I think the Lions are just more put together. I think they're going to bounce back after the loss. I expect the Lions to win this week. Rams at 49ers. Matthew Stafford, at his age, man, is he so good. And he's fun to watch. He just has all the talent in the world right here. That arm talent is like, bar none, could compete with any of the best throwers of the football in the past, yeah, since the invention of the NFL. I expect Matthew Stafford, even though Brock Purdy is back, I expect Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams to win this game. Steelers, Chargers. Steelers coming off a big win. Chargers have looked pretty good this year. I mean, they've lost a couple offensive linemen, especially Joe Alt going down with that. It seems like a season-ending injury. So I don't know how the Chargers offensive line is going to hold up against the Steelers defensive line. This is a game where I want to pick the Steelers, but every time there's a game that I want to pick the Steelers and I do, they let me down. So I'm going to bounce back and just say the Chargers are going to win this game, but only because I've had so much bad luck siding with the Steelers. Last game, Monday night, November 10th, Philadelphia Eagles, Green Bay Packers. My Uncle Chris will be front row seats at Lambeau Field as an Eagles fan watching this game. Eagles got some additions in the trade deadline. We'll see how they amount. Brandon Graham's coming out of retirement. Not sure if he's going to play. We didn't lose anybody important on our offense or our defense. I hope we can get our run games figured out. I hope we can get our pass game figured out. I think with the new additions on defense, we'll be a little bit better, and we can probably limit what Jordan Love and this Packers offense can do. But as a pessimistic Eagles fan, I just see the Packers somehow winning this game. And honestly, if I was forced to pick, even though I think the Eagles have more talent on their team than the Packers do, I'm going to take Jordan Love and the Packers to win this game. But I do hope the Eagles win. Man, I hope the Eagles figure it out, because going back to back, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Unfortunately, Tucker Kraft went down with that season-ending knee injury after going like 180 yards and 2 TDs. That Monday night, or whatever it was, Thursday night football game, Monday night football game against the Steelers. I hope that Tucker Kraft can have a successful recovery, because he's a dog and he is so much fun to watch. Did you guys see the Packers? I think it was Romeo Dobbs talking about Tucker Kraft. He was like, man, I feel bad for him. He's in a better place. Acting like Tucker Kraft died. Like, no, Tucker Kraft got a knee injury. He didn't die. It was a funny video to watch. He did it in front of all the media, so it got posted everywhere. I think the Packers are going to win this game, but I do hope the Eagles win. All right, guys, that's it for NFL news. NBA started. We'll talk about that as it gets closer to midway season. Talk about the winners, the losers, who's been good in the NBA. I'm so happy that the Dodgers won, got another ring, went back to back. Yamamoto got MVP after pitching one night, no rest, coming in after we had to pull Ohtani early after that 3-run crank. Man, am I so happy for the Dodgers right now. And I was so ecstatic watching that game. I was at work watching that game, sweating that game out with a Dodgers fan that came in. We were just watching the game together, talking about what it's like being a Dodgers fan. But yeah, I hope the Eagles win this week. I hope all your teams win. I hope all your fantasy teams win. And I hope all your bets hit. And if you guys have any questions about bets, games going on, injury status, don't forget to leave a comment. Follow any of my social medias. Check out all my clips. I appreciate you guys watching every week, and I will see you guys again next week. Peace.